YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman Raw. So today we've got the masking stage on this Mazda CX5. So as you can see, all the prep work's been done. It's another Sol Red Crystal respray, just another. I've lost count of how many of these things I've done, but they're warranty work for Mazda. I'll leave it at that, and let's get into it. So all prep work, so I'll just tell you the way that I prepped them up. As you can see, there's not many repairs on these cars. We do whatever repairs are necessary on them. I mean, there's no use in going and doing a respray over an entire car and painting over damage, so we do the repairs. But generally there's not too many, but there's a few stone chips. So all I do with them, I'll start off by cleaning the panels down, well, just with water cleaner and a rag, and I'll then sand them down with the orbital sander and some 320 grit. And from there, I'll just go and put some UV filler. I'm still a big fan of that UV filler. I'll put some UV filler in there, into the spots, and then I'll get the UV light. What I've actually been doing these days is, so I might have, say, 5 or 10 chips, and I'll put the light on that one, and then I'll move it on to the next one, and I'll actually be scraping this one with my razor blade as I'm drying the next one, and I sort of move along, and it's pretty much like by the time it's dry, I've got most of the scraping done. So just another way of utilizing my time to the best I can see possible. I don't know, I'm that kind of guy. I've always enjoyed just getting in and getting stuff done. And yeah, it's no different whether I'm on a full respray, on a candy respray. It's just the way I like to work. I just find the day goes a bit quicker if you just get in and get it done. You don't have any time to get bored, I guess. So yeah, once I've done that, I'll scrape it. So that what I'm doing is, I'll put the filler in, I'll then scrape it to lower the profile of any of the excess filler, and then I'll get the 320 on the orbital sander again, orbital sand over the top of that, and that will sand the rest of it nice and flat. And from there, I'll get a piece of 500 grit, one of those softback sanding sponges, and just go over the edges, and that's about it. If there's any little shiny spots, I might give that a little bit of a tickle up with the 1000 grit. But yeah, that's about it. Then I'll just obviously give it a really good blow down, unmask it. So actually, I didn't remember to mention that I do cover the entire car up with plastic while I'm doing the prep work, because I don't want all the dust to get inside the cabin of the vehicle. And from there, as I say, give it a good blow down, and then I get the waterborne cleaner and then wipe them down with wipe the entire car down with a couple of microfiber cloths. So like a wipe on, wipe off. I'll actually use 2 microfiber cloths. I'll go spray on, wipe off, the initial wipe off, I'll do that around the entire car. I'll then get another dry microfiber and get rid of any further residue. So that's with the water cleaner. So that's what I've done up to here. I will then give it a prep sole with, like a proper prep sole, which is otherwise known as wax and grease remover or silicone remover. But I'll do that once it's all masked up as like a final stage, and then give it a tack rag. But yeah, here we are with the masking. So I was having in the last few videos that I did on this Raw channel, I was talking about having some minor issues or major issues, I guess whichever way you look at it, with the color matches on PPG. They have been pretty bad for me lately. It got so bad that I just cracked the shits and told the boss, I'm like, man, get someone out, like, because this is a joke. So he ended up calling up one of the reps, and he came out and he ran through a few things that he would do, the way that he uses the system. And it was honestly a little bit strange. Like, his method, it didn't really make sense to me, which is why it took me a while to understand like what he was doing, because to me it didn't make sense. Like, if I'm going to do something, I want to know why I'm doing it, like to have a logical reason behind why you're doing it. But I'll give you the basic idea. Is like, if let's just say he's painting this guard on this car and that's all he's painting, what he would do is get a spectro reading on the bonnet, one spectro reading there and one on the door. And then he would put those two readings into the computer, put the color code in, and he would look at both of these two readings and look for a familiar variant. So let's just say there's a darker yellower and a lighter variant here, and then there's a yellower and a bluer variant here. Well, the common variant is the yellower one, because the yellower variant's in both of them. But to me, that kind of doesn't make sense, because it's like, I want it to match here. I don't care what's going on down there, man. I'm blending, for instance. Like my color's going edge to edge here. I don't care. I don't want that second reading. You know, I don't need, usually, I mean, that's the way I would look at it. I'd be like, I want a 100% match here. I don't even care if it's 10% over there, because I don't care. I'm blending. You know, it could be black to white, for instance, if you know what I mean. But that's why I kind of didn't really understand what he was doing, because it didn't really make sense as to why you would do that. But yeah, with these kind of things, if you guys have got any advice or recommendations on how to get some better color matches, because like the first job that I did after he left was I think I actually did a YouTube, well, yeah, I'll probably uploaded it by now, but yeah, the first color I did was QAB, which was a Nissan 3-stage Pearl, and the color was terrible. Like, I used his method and I mixed up like a 200mm tester, like a sample, and it was crap. Because I used exactly what he said. Like, he said, forget about your color chips. So usually what I'd been doing is first port of call would be color chips, because the way I see it, you can physically see what that color is going to look like. So I don't know, like at least with a color chip I can see what it looks like, and I can say, okay, well, that's a little bit blue, I'll drop a little bit of blue out of that formula and I know where I'm at. Whereas with the Spectro, like especially this Spectro, which I haven't got much faith in, I'm just taking its word for it. Well, I say that I don't have much faith in this one because I don't, but with the Standox one I did. Like, I would mix up, you know, if I'm painting, say, the whole side of a car, I had so much faith in it that I could just Spectra, mix up the full amount, and I know that it would only ever be like a small tint away from being right. So I would always still check it, don't get me wrong, but I knew that it would never be that far out. But yeah, well, from my experience with PPG, sometimes you get things that are just like not even close, man. Like, they will be missing key tinters. Like, the other day I did a Haval, which are these cheap Chinese cars, and it didn't even have the ceralic pearl in there that it needed. Like, there's a certain pearl, it's kind of got this like rainbow effect to it. It's called ceralic pearl. The number on PPG is 4,000. But either way, like, you're never gonna get that look out of any other tinter. Like, as I say, there's only one tinter that's ever gonna look like that, and it wasn't even in the color. And it's like, this is what I mean by I don't trust this system, like with the Spectra, I mean. Like, but as I say, like, if there's a color card, I trust them. They do actually replicate. From my experience, they will replicate. And if I'm just blending, I will just mix and paint one of the color chips. So yeah, as I say, like, I've tried it once. I'll keep doing his method and see how I go with the results. But honestly, since he came in, I've actually just been stuck on big jobs. I was stuck on one big Ford Falcon. It was like nearly a respray. Actually, it was two panels off a respray. I actually I didn't do a video on that one. I didn't even take any photos of it, to be honest. I was just in a hurry. Just wanted to get that job done and then get on to the next one. And I've actually been busy moving houses, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos. I've just moved into a new house. I think at that time I hadn't moved yet, but it's good. It's good to be in like a nice big house with a garage and a massive backyard. It must be like 1,000 square meters, this property, so it's nice to have that room. Gonna have to give the garage a bit of a tidy up. It's a bit of an older house, but hey, I'm saving money on it. The way I say it, like, I'm paying 410 bucks a week for a full house in a good area. So yeah, I'm definitely not complaining about that. But what I was gonna say, like, some of the other places, they're going for like 500 a week, you know what I mean? a little bit nicer on the inside, like basically just a coat of paint. They're still falling apart on the outside. So the way I say it, man, I've got like 4.5, 5 grand to spend on the place this year, and I'm still gonna cut even, if you know what I mean. And then the next couple of years I'll be saving that money. So I don't know. I'm kind of a bit of a hands-on type person, so I don't mind doing a bit of work around the place. And I guess a lot of other people aren't hands-on and don't like doing that work around the place. So yeah, it's all good. Different strokes, different folks. I'm not complaining. But yeah, look, I spoke to one of my friends, and it's a funny one because whenever I talk about PPG and their colors to my Instagram community, you do get mixed results. Like lots of the people, and it seems to be like a bit of a trend that people in America don't seem to have the issues with the colors as they do over here. But what some of the guys will say is the American colors are actually quite good. So the American cars, the color matches are actually quite good. But you know what? We don't have American cars here in Australia. I mean, technically, yes, we do, but they're few and far between. I mean, those what are they called? Mustangs. They're getting pretty common, or pretty popular. But mate, I've never painted one since the whole time I've been here. So it's mainly Japanese and European here in Australia. Like America is literally the other side of the world than Australia. So obviously it's going to be pretty expensive to import their cars over here. So yeah, I know there's lots of other people that can struggle, especially, it seems to be more so here in Australia, as I say. But yeah. But you know what, like, I've been thinking about it, and it's like, man, you gotta take the good with the bad. Like, you're never gonna have a workplace that is absolutely perfect on every single level, you know what I mean? And this place is pretty damn good in many, many areas, you know what I mean? Like, I've talked about my bosses in the past, and they are probably the best bosses I've ever worked for. I'm gonna go out and say it. It's a great family owned and family run business, so they're a great bunch of people, and yeah, they're just really easygoing. That's one thing that it's kind of like a bit of a culture shock coming from that place over there in Perth. It's always like go, 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 stress, stress, stress. Like, you got the Friday rush, you know, it'll be like, and again, I've just got to say, nothing against them. They were awesome dudes as well. I'm not saying anything bad about them. It's more just about their business, the way they run their business. So it's definitely not personal, but yeah, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you won't see them. Thursday, or maybe like Wednesday afternoon, you'll start seeing them come down when they realize, oh shit, that one's got to go, you know what I mean? And then like, one of the bosses will come down and tell you to do this job, and then the other boss will come down and tell you to do the other job, and then like, it's like they didn't communicate very well. And yeah, it's kind of funny, but you know, it trickles down, and it stresses you out when when you're the one that has to sort of cut the corners just to get the job done. Anyway, I need some plastic. But yeah, as I say, you've just got to take the good with the bad. I don't know, like 1, 2, 3 arm lengths. That usually gets me over a car. I don't want to forget this hole here. Get that one while we're here. But yeah, it kind of cracked me up. This is actually part of the reason I decided to flick the camera on. I don't know, I was getting bored of listening to all that music and podcasts. Sometimes you need a bit of a break from all the constant noise. But part of the reason I decided to make these videos, because I wanted to tell you about this crazy guy that I met in the comments section on TikTok. He said, I flat out refuse to mask a door while it's swinging. So I did this, it was like a Lexus IS 250 or something like that, and the repair came inside the door jamb, and I had to mask the door swinging, whatever. Like, I'm not really one to throw my weight around too much, if you know what I mean. I'm just like, get in, get the job done. I think that's part of what my bosses have always generally liked about me, if you know what I mean. Like, no mucking around, get in. As I say before at the start, you know, I do like getting in and getting the job done fast as well. But I also, I don't like all the drama of, oh man, I'm not gonna work around this, blah, 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 you know what I mean? But, and then I guess the other side of it is like, if you do ask for something off, they'll know that you kind of need it off, if you know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt that if I asked them to take off, they probably would have. But I'm like, no, I can work around that, save the panel. I knew that the panel beaters were kind of a little bit undermanned in there at the time, and masking a door while it's on the car to swing is not the end of the world to me. You know, it's a bit of an older car anyway, a bit of an older IS 250, just get the job done. But no, it was kind of just, it was just hilarious to see this guy's comments. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so you've got kids in school, you've got mouths to feed, you've got bills to pay, you've got rent to pay, and your boss says, oh, mate, do you want to just mask that door up to swing? And you're like, no, I'm refusing, I'm out of here, mate. So like, you're gonna do that because of your, like, your, I don't know, your morals will tell you that you're not gonna do that. It's kind of crazy. And I don't know, it's funny. But I guess that's the internet, isn't it? It exposes us to some crazy or funny people, you know? There was another really funny one. His name's like Jim Bob or something like that. And the stuff that he was saying was just, it was on one of the spray gun reviews that I did. It's like the Binks, and I gave it a bit of a negative review because it had a small fan on it. I still remember that gun, like it wasn't a good gun, and like the fan on it was like this size, so to get it to operate at full fan, like you've got to hold it all the way back here until it hits full fan, if you know what I mean. And I found it used a lot more material than necessary or than usual, and yeah, it was sort of a bit of a struggle to paint with it. And he's just going off. He's like, the Brit, and he said the Brit like in every second sentence. I don't know if he's like, he just doesn't understand my accent, but I'm Australian, obviously, you know. It's like the Brit, and he's like, the first tell, like as if like I'm some kind of a magician who's hiding shit from you. Like, all right, dude. I just ended up replying to him. I said, dude, like back off the LSD, and he just continued going on about the Brit, and I don't know, that kind of shit, that's more funny than, like, I can't take that kind of a shit seriously, you know what I mean? So you're just so off your head. Yeah, it's funny. You gotta have a laugh though. I've always been a pretty happy-go-lucky type guy. Enjoy having a laugh at stupid shit. Got a sick, twisted sense of humor. I guess we've all got to be in this trade, you gotta be a little bit different, don't you? But yeah, as I say, sometimes you just got to look at the bigger picture and say, hey, yes, okay, you know, I'm not using Stando Blue, but I'm making good money. I'm pretty happy at work. I'm in a good place in life, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't feel as if I'm in any hurry to go and leave this place over the paint. It's not that bad. And on the other hand, like, it's like, well, they don't seem to mind, like because they're so easygoing, like I was saying before. The boss is like, they're not, like, you're never really rushed on a job anyway. They're like, no, just, you know, get it right, you know. Like if you got to mix it up 3 or 4 times to find the right variant, like, don't worry about it. Obviously, you know, they don't want to waste money or time, but it's like, they understand that you're trying, and if it does take a bit longer, they know it's for a good reason, you know. And it's nearly strange. It's like, even when like you do like a straight up mistake, like there was a little bit of a blotchy spot in one of the metallics that I did recently, and they like, they're just like, no, we'll just take it back in. Just like softly spoken, no, we'll just take it back in the booth again. It's kind of like weird. It's like, where's the catch? Coming from like my old boss, he'd be like throwing his, oh Jesus Christ, this one's gotta go, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, what's going on here, you know? Is there a catch or something? Why are you being so cool about this, you know? But no, it's good, it's good. And yeah, I mean, it's also one of those ones, like, I've used Concept No Mix before. I had that in my own workshop. Like, I'm not gonna lie, we got it in because it was cheap. And there is straight up colors that you cannot get, like you will never get, because the metallics are just wrong. Like the metallic flake sizes are just wrong, like, and the colors you just cannot replicate. Like I came across that a few times, and that was the conclusion I came to. I'm like, man, you cannot get that color in this paint system. Whoa, nearly ate shit. So yeah, I mean, I've never come across that yet in this system. There was actually one color which I was kind of I was blaming on the paint system for a while. I'm like, oh man, it took me like an hour to match even just to get it to blend. It was actually only a bumper job. But then after having a further look at it, I realized it was like a dark blue, but they must have used like a white primer on it, and it was see-through. So it turned out the original formula was okay, but I had to spray it over a white ground coat. So yeah, sorry about that one, PPG, I take it back. But yeah, Ford Transit, long wheelbase Ford Transit van it was, like a dark metallic blue with like pearl in it and like a coarse flake metallic. If you ever come across that one, just keep in mind that it might not be covered. And I did notice like all the door handles were darker, so it's like the door handles were sprayed over like a dark primer, or either that or they were just covered properly. But the entire body of the car was see-through. But another thing that one of my mates was saying is, it's actually the guy that got me this job. He used to do spot repairs, like mobile spot repair van type job, working with PPG, and he's like, man, I swore by him. In Envirobase, he goes like, he would just spectro it and paint the first one every time, and said he had pretty good results. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm being too particular, maybe I'm trying to get the colors too good, but on the other hand, like, we've still got standards that we've got to keep up to. Oh, don't get me started on standards. They've definitely dropped in the last sort of 10 years, specifically in the last 10 years, yeah. And definitely in the time that I've spent in the trade, the quality standards, you know what, I reckon they nearly went up and then came back down, come to think of it. I reckon, like, and maybe it's just partly the shops that I worked in, but when I started, I reckon the standards were a little bit lower. Like in the year, say 2000 I started. And then I reckon they went up in the following 10 years. And I reckon they slowly started coming down again in the 10 years after that. But who knows, mate. I'm just a player in the game, don't hate me. I'll do my best. This video is probably getting a bit long in the tooth, probably boring the hell out of you by now. I've run out of shit to say. I might even turn that camera off for a few minutes, and if I come up with something else to say, I'll turn it back on. Rightio guys, so that masking is just about done. I thought I'd give you guys a look over it, as I mentioned before. But as I say, just about done. Now, I started this job here at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's 4:20 now, so it's taken about 50 minutes to get to this stage. So it might take me an extra 10 minutes to put the fine line, or sorry, the false edge masking around there. But I will do that in the morning, because I have found that if you leave it on overnight, it can slowly start to lift up. So I'll give that a prep sole first thing in the morning. I'll then put that false edge, I was about to say fine line again, false edge masking down, and that will be us. But I still do actually have to do the doors. But yeah, we're doing well. I'll probably continue on with a base coat and clear coat stage on this job here. Why not? leave you guys with something to watch. Anyway, until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.